The year is 1763. Great Britain stands victorious, having vanquished France in the French and Indian War. This hard-fought triumph redraws the map of North America, placing vast territories under British control. From the bustling cities of the east to the untamed wilderness beyond the Appalachian Mountains, a new era dawns. Yet this victory comes at a cost, leaving Britain burdened with war debts and the daunting task of managing a vast and restless colonial frontier. The war, fought on the very soil of the American colonies, had deeply impacted the colonists. They had fought alongside British regulars, endured hardships, and tasted victory. A sense of pride in their contribution to the empire's triumph swelled within them. But as the smoke cleared from the battlefields, a new challenge emerged: how to secure peace and order in this newly expanded realm. Little did anyone know that the very act intended to ensure peace would sow the seeds of future conflict. In the halls of power in London, King George III and his ministers grappled with the complexities of their expanded empire. The war had also revealed the delicate balance of power with Native American tribes who had often sided with the French. Seeking to consolidate their gains and prevent future conflicts, the Crown issued a momentous decree, the Royal Proclamation of 1763. This proclamation, etched in ink but destined to be tested by blood, served two primary purposes. Firstly, it aimed to appease Native American allies who had grown increasingly wary of colonial expansion. By recognizing their land rights and restricting colonial settlement west of the Appalachian Mountains, the Crown sought to honor their wartime alliances and maintain peace on the frontier. Secondly, the proclamation aimed to bring order to the often chaotic process of westward expansion. The Crown envisioned a more controlled process, one guided by treaties and royal proclamations, rather than the haphazard encroachment of land-hungry colonists. For many colonists, particularly those who had fought in the war, the proclamation felt like a betrayal. The rich lands of the Ohio Valley, won through bloodshed, were now off limits, a forbidden fruit tantalizingly out of reach. The proclamation's boundary, a line etched on a map thousands of miles away, represented a dashed dream, a barrier to their ambitions. The frontier, with its promise of land and opportunity, had always beckoned to the colonists. It represented a chance to build a better life, to escape the confines of crowded cities and rigid social structures. The proclamation, however well-intentioned, struck at the very heart of this frontier spirit, fueling resentment and defiance. It was seen as a blatant attempt to limit their freedom and control their destinies. The ink on the proclamation was barely dry when colonists began to defy it. Land speculators who had invested heavily in western lands saw their fortunes evaporate overnight. Settlers eager to claim their own piece of the frontier chafed under the restrictions. The proclamation, intended to maintain order, had inadvertently ignited a firestorm of discontent. The vast distances and challenging terrain of the frontier made enforcement of the proclamation difficult. Colonial governors, often sympathetic to the plight of their people, turned a blind eye to transgressions. The proclamation, meant to be a wall, became more like a sieve, porous and easily circumvented. This defiance, born out of a sense of injustice and a belief in their right to the land, further strained the already frayed relationship between the colonies and the Crown. Section 5. The Seeds of Discord, Taxation Without Representation. The Proclamation of 1763 was not an isolated event, but rather a key chapter in a growing saga of discontent. It coincided with a series of unpopular policies enacted by the British Parliament, including the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts. These acts, aimed at raising revenue to pay off war debts, were seen by colonists as further evidence of British tyranny. The cry of no taxation without representation reverberated through the colonies. Colonists argued that they should not be subjected to taxes imposed by a distant parliament in which they had no voice. The proclamation, by denying them access to western lands while simultaneously imposing new taxes, felt like a double blow, fueling their sense of grievance and solidifying their opposition to British rule. Section 6. liberty's flame ignited echoes of the Proclamation. The frustrations and resentments sparked by the Proclamation of 1763 did not fade with time. Instead, they smoldered like embers, waiting for the right spark to ignite them into a full-blown conflagration. That spark came in 1775 with the battles of Lexington and Concord. The American Revolution, fought over principles of liberty, self-governance and representation, was in many ways a direct consequence of the policies and attitudes that had led to the Proclamation. The belief that colonists were entitled to the same rights and freedoms as their counterparts in Britain, a belief that had been so flagrantly disregarded in the Proclamation, became a rallying cry for independence. Section 7. The Revolution's Legacy, a Nation Forged in Defiance. The American Revolution, a tumultuous and bloody affair, culminated in the birth of a new nation, the United States of America. The ideals enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness were hard-won, paid for with the blood and sacrifice of countless patriots. The Proclamation of 1763, though seemingly a distant memory, cast a long shadow over these events. It served as a potent symbol of British overreach, a constant reminder of the injustices that had driven the colonies to rebellion. The new nation, forged in the crucible of revolution, was determined to chart its own destiny, free from the shackles of imperial control. Section 8. The Proclamation's Enduring Impact. Native American Rights and Land. The Proclamation of 1763, while primarily remembered for its role in sparking colonial unrest, also had a significant impact on Native American tribes. By recognizing their land rights and requiring treaties for land cessions, the Proclamation established a precedent, albeit one that was often ignored or violated in the years to come. Despite its limitations, the Proclamation served as a legal and moral foundation for future efforts to protect Native American lands and sovereignty. It acknowledged the inherent rights of indigenous peoples, a concept that would continue to be debated and fought over throughout American history. Section 9. Conclusion, a defining chapter in American history. The Proclamation of 1763 stands as a pivotal moment in the annals of American history. It marked a turning point in the relationship between Great Britain and its American colonies, exposing the deep fissures that would eventually erupt into revolution. It also highlighted the complex and often tragic relationship between European colonists and Native Americans, a story of broken promises, forced removals, and the enduring struggle for recognition and justice. The Proclamation's legacy is one of unintended consequences, a stark reminder that even well-intentioned policies can have far-reaching and unforeseen repercussions. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of imperial overreach, the importance of listening to the voices of the governed, and the enduring power of ideas such as liberty, self-determination, and the pursuit of happiness.